Begin with our next session. Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, good evening. The second plenary session of the 56th ordinary period of sessions of the General Assembly is open. We will continue with the dialogue on the heads of delegation on the common topic of firm multilateralism in defense of democracy and hemispheric security and stability in the Americas. I'd like to remind you that interventions should be kept to the order that was pre-established before, including the switches, and 6 minutes max. This, of course, will ensure that all the member states can take part. And I'd like to invite us all to discuss and deliberate with the spirit of openness and collaboration that is so characteristic of us. I now like to give the floor to the delegation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Gracias, señor presidente, señor secretario general, señoras y señores amigos, ministros, delegados todos. Deseo expresar nuestro reconocimiento.
We recognize the government of Panama for organizing this assembly of the OAS that has been so well organized, and its firm commitment to the values and principles that are the basis of our organization. This year's theme, firm multilateralism in defense of democracy, as my colleagues have mentioned, is very important. We are in an international context that is characterized by the relevance of multilateralism and the value in the international system, especially in the face of the difficulties and complexities with organized crime and the threats to democracy. Given these circumstances, Uruguay reaffirms its conviction that multilateralism is the most effective instrument to promote peace, to strengthen international cooperation, and to find solutions to the crisis that we are experiencing and that no state can resolve by itself. For Uruguay, we respect international law, sovereignty of the states, pacific solution to disagreements, compliance with international obligations. These are not just legal principles. They are indispensable guarantees for pacific coexistence among nations. We reaffirm the importance of the organization of all American states for security in the hemisphere and in the institution that it represents, and the right that we have to, or the duty to preserve. We back the inter-American human rights system, which is one of the greatest instruments in the world and is absolutely critical for consolidating democracy and the rule of law and effective protection of human dignity. Over many decades, it has contributed decisively to developing regional standards that currently guide public policy, strengthen institutions, and broaden protection and basic rights in the Americas. In this regional scenario that is marked by tensions, democracy and human rights are absolutely critical, and we need to safeguard the autonomy and the independence and institutional solidity of these inter-American institutions. This is the 25th year of the Democratic Inter-American Charter, and I would like to reinforce democracy is a responsibility, a collective responsibility in our hemisphere. Democracy is much more than a periodic celebration of elections. It rests on independence of powers, respect for rule of law, freedom of expression, civic participation, transparency, accountability, and promoting human rights. We are convinced that strong democracy cannot exist without strong human rights, and nor can we ensure human rights if we don't also have democratic, strong, and legitimate institutions. Defending democracies means making progress so that all people can fully exercise their rights and take part under equal conditions in the political, economic, social, and cultural life. It means eradicating poverty and establish and remove random stigmatization. Uruguay reaffirms its commitment to promoting gender equality and eradicating all forms of violence and discrimination that still persist in our countries. We are concerned with the erosion of democracy, extreme polarization, hate speech, disinformation, political persecution, undermining the right to free exercise of rights, attacking journalists and other actors in civil society. We are very concerned with the situation in Bolivia, and it is very clear, and we've heard this many times, that most of our community believes that we need to guarantee stability for our brother country and help different actors and help and support them in peace and serenity to move forward and to ensure stability and social and economic development. Our experience focuses on integral development and social and economic development. And these are inseparable. Hemispheric security is one of the most important and complex and multidimensional issues that our continent faces today. Organized crime, transnational organized crime, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, and human trafficking, cyber crimes, and other expressions of organized crime constitute direct threats to the security of our citizens, institutional stability, and democratic governability. These crimes don't just lead to crime, but they break down systems, and they use public system. They use state systems and weaken citizen trust in the democratic system. And this, without a doubt, is one of our most severe problems that we are facing. These criminal organizations don't just sow violence, they undermine peace. And we think it's therefore critical to share information, to have mutual legal systems, coordination among our countries, so that and every time we always respect human rights and the rule of law. The most effective security policies are those that are based on legality, protecting people, and institutional strengthening. So investments in education, jobs, social inclusion, and sustainable development are the most powerful tools to address the structural causes of this violence. I would like to stress, specifically when it comes to Haiti, this is one of the greatest emergencies that we are facing in this region. Uruguay is deeply concerned with security and the lack of humanitarian support and human rights in the country, and the impact of violence on women and children and adolescents. We'd like to stress here that a coordinated legal response headed by Haiti, respecting its sovereignty and its principles, is what is required. The Haiti roadmap is valuable to make progress in this response, and it is absolutely critical that we work together and to get the support from other international actors, including the United Nations, working together so that they follow the mandate of the Charter of the United Nations. This should be a prioritization. We should prioritize our resources to them that allows them the OAS ability to effectively comply with its mandates. as has been entrusted by the member states. Uruguay continues to participate actively in these efforts, convinced that a strong, sustainable, adaptable institution will also be a more efficient organization that will be closer to the needs of our people and fully committed to the principles that created and that inspired its creation, which is the basis of everything we do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Uruguay. St. Lucia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Permit me to recognize you, Mr. President, my colleague, foreign ministers, and heads of delegations, Mr. Secretary General, Madam Assistant Secretary General, permanent representatives, permanent observers, delegates, all the distinguished personalities of this august assembly. Mr. President, once again, I am at a loss for terms adequate to express my gratitude on behalf of my delegation of St. Lucia to the government and people of the Republic of Panama for your warm welcome and excellent arrangement and organization of this meeting. It is a pleasure to be in Panama during this significant year as the country celebrates the bicentennial of the Congress of Panama. The vision of unity, cooperation, and collective action that you have embodied continue to be a driving force behind the inter-American agenda. Mr. President, with all the hemispheric and global challenges confronting us, we see the accentuated relevance of multilateralism and the indispensable role of the OAS as the principal political forum of this hemisphere. Mr. President, as we stand together to reaffirm our commitment to the principles and values of the OAS, we also need to take a hard look at the challenges that are confronting the institution, and we must do so with complete and brutal honesty. The financial situation of the OAS remains a matter of serious concern. We have sought to reconcile the expanding number of mandates while resources available for the implementation have remained constrained. We have repeatedly adopted budgets that have not kept pace with inflation, mandatory cost, or the evolving demands placed upon the Secretariat. The result is an organization that has struggled to deliver on the expectations of member states. Our organization cannot afford to go into a financial coma. St. Lucia underscores a principle that is often overlooked in our discussions on the financial sustainability of the OAS. While we rightly expect the General Secretariat to exercise the highest standards of efficiency, accountability, transparency, and fiscal discipline, member states must also acknowledge and fulfill their own responsibilities. As the sustainability of the OAS depends equally on the commitment of member states to meet our financial obligations in a timely and predictable manner, it is contradictory to continue calling for improved management of resources by the Secretariat while simultaneously failing to provide those resources when they are due, Mr. President. The payment of quotas should never be a transactional exercise tied to financial incentives. It is a fundamental obligation arising from our membership in this organization. Member states should not need a discount or any other reward to honor commitments that they have already undertaken. As a result of these discounts for payment of quotas on time, we lose just over $840,000 in next year's budget. As we seek to strengthen the financial sustainability of the organization, we must also preserve its independence and integrity. Decisions of the organization should be determined by the collective will of its membership and the principles enshrined in the Charter. rather than by the availability of withdrawal of financial resources. For small states in particular, confidence in a rules-based, inclusive, predictable, and equitable multilateral system is indispensable, Mr. President. This, colleagues, is our organization, and its successes belong to all of us, just as its challenges are the responsibility of all of us. The burden of ensuring the financial health of the OAS cannot rest solely on the shoulders of the Secretariat. It must also be borne by member states through the timely payment of quotas, responsible stewardship of the organization's resources, and a genuine commitment to its long-term sustainability. Mr. President, the issue of geographic representation is one that is of vital importance to my government. St. Lucia must express its profound disappointment at the lack of any meaningful progress in achieving equitable geographic representation within the General Secretariat. Mr. President, the strength and legitimacy of any international organization depend not only on its mandates, but also on the extent to which its institutions reflect the diversity of its membership. St. Lucia has consistently highlighted the importance of ensuring that the Secretariat reflects the diversity of the hemisphere and that it benefits from the talent and expertise that exist across all regions. I challenge the leadership of the OAS to do better in this regard. Mr. President, climate change remains among the greatest threats to security, prosperity, and sustainable development for St. Lucia. We therefore call for stronger hemispheric cooperation to support adaptation, resilience building, disaster preparedness, and access to climate finance. The security of our hemisphere cannot be separated from the resilience of its most vulnerable members. We will therefore be looking to the new leadership of SEDI to deliver on this issue. Mr. President, the founders of the Inter-American system understood that our strength lies in cooperation and solidarity. Their vision remains as relevant today as it was over a century ago when the International Union of American Republics was established. We should therefore seize this moment to renew our commitment to a stronger organization, one that is financially sustainable, geographically representative, responsive to the needs of all member states, and capable of delivering meaningful results for the people we serve. Mr. President, as I conclude, since I am not endowed with a great deal of eloquence, I will end my brief intervention with the simple words. St. Lucia renews its commitment to the OAS and remains committed to working constructively with all member states, permanent observers, the Secretary General, the Assistant Secretary General, and the Secretariat in pursuit of that objective. Muchas gracias. Merci. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Thank you.
Thanks, St. Lucia. At this time, St. Vincent and Grenadines says the floor is yours.
President, colleague Foreign Minister, Excellencies, it is my honor to bring greetings on behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a small nation shaped by resilience and lived vulnerability, we come to this assembly with clarity of purpose and a spirit of partnership. My delegation and I extend sincere appreciation to the government and people of Panama for your gracious hospitality, and we also want to commend your leadership in convening this General Assembly. This gathering, coinciding with the bicentennial of the Amphictyonic Congress convened by Simon Bolivar, reminds us of the enduring aspiration for unity across the Americas. That vision calls us today to renewed resolve to strengthen cooperation, defend democracy, and deepen hemispheric solidarity. For small states like ours, partnership is not optional. It is the anchor of our security, the driver of our development, and the foundation of our resilience. Chair, Excellencies, St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains or reaffirms its commitment to the Charter of the Organization of American States and the Inter-American Democratic Charter. We believe democracy flourishes when institutions are strong, when citizens participate actively, and when societies are inclusive. Progress must walk hand in hand with equity. Where inequality exists and persists, governance falters and dignity is diminished. Addressing poverty, marginalization, and exclusion must remain at the heart of our collective agenda. The complex threats which we face in our region are not opaque by any stretch of the imagination. We all know them too well: transnational crime, cyber insecurity, human trafficking, and the illegal flow of firearms. For the Caribbean and St. Vincent and the Grenadines in particular, illicit weapons are a grave danger, eroding public safety and destabilizing our societies. This reality demands stronger multilateral cooperation, prevention, enforcement, and coordinated regional action. Maritime security must also be reinforced, guided by international law and respect for lives, livelihoods, and the environment. Excellencies, the crisis in Haiti weighs heavily on our hemisphere. St. Vincent and the Grenadines stand in solidarity with the Haitian people. We have always done so. And we also wish to reaffirm that the path forward must be Haitian-led, rooted in the roadmap for stability and peace. Restoring democratic order requires inclusive national consensus and credible elections. External support, consistent and well-coordinated, will be vital to stabilize security, rebuild institutions, and advance long-term development. Our credibility as a hemisphere rests on our ability to accompany Haiti with resolve and with respect. Chair, for small island developing states, climate change remains an existential threat, and we hear this all the time. Rising sea levels, stronger storms, and environmental degradation erode our resilience despite our negligible contribution to global emissions. Reforming the international financial architecture, operationalizing the multidimensional vulnerability index, and scaling up concessional climate finance are urgent priorities. Without decisive action, stability and security in the Americas will remain elusive. Building resilience also means investing in innovation and sustainability. My country continues to advance digital transformation, micro, small, and medium enterprises, sustainable tourism, the blue economy, agriculture, food security, and responsive healthcare systems. We are committed to partnerships that expand access to technology, financing, and expertise. We emphasize the importance of women's economic rights, labor participation, and digital inclusion. We must confront the differentiated impacts of climate shocks on women, particularly in tourism and the blue and green economies. We also recognize the rise of digital violence against women and reaffirm our support for the Inter-American Commission of Women and the follow-up mechanism to the Belém do Pará Convention. We take pride that Vincentian National Miriam Roach now serves as president of the Committee of Exports of MESIVIC, the first CARICOM national to hold this position, exemplifying leadership and our region's commitment to protecting women and girls. Excellencies, our challenges are intertwined, and so must be our responses. Strong multilateralism must remain central, rooted in sovereignty, dialogue, and equity among states. Solidarity across the Americas has always proven invaluable, whether in healthcare or development cooperation. That spirit must guide us forward. St. Vincent and the Grenadines will continue to play a constructive role within the OAS and the wider multilateral system. Chair, Excellencies, the hemisphere faces both fragility and opportunity. To confront insecurity, inequality, climate change, and democratic strain, we must act together. Guided by shared purpose, let us rise above differences and build safeguards that guarantee peace, hope, and security for all. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, St. Vincent and Grenadine. At this time, I'd like to invite Suriname has requested to intervene in the third plenary of tomorrow, Wednesday the 24th, due to the Chancellor arrives to Panama tonight. So at this time, Trinidad and Tobago, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, Secretary General, Assistant Secretary General, heads of delegations, distinguished delegates. It is an honor for the delegation of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to participate in the 56th regular session of the General Assembly of the Organization of American States under the theme Multilateralism in Defense of Democracy, Hemispheric Security and Stability in the Americas. At the outset, I extend sincere appreciation to the government and the people of the Republic of Panama for hosting this assembly with warmth and love. Mr. President, my delegation listened with great interest to the dynamic statement delivered by the President of Panama at last night's opening ceremony, when he called on all of us to strengthen cooperation, defend democracy, and reaffirm respect for the rule of law as fundamental pillars for the development and integration of the region. He was accurate. The challenges confronting the Americas are substantial and ever-evolving, but they are not insurmountable. They require what this Assembly's theme rightly describes as firm multilateralism. Elected to serve as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for the period 2027 to 2028, Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to addressing these issues will also guide our tenure on the platform of building consensus for the realization of sustainable peace and security. On this note, I express the profound appreciation of the government of Trinidad and Tobago for your vote of confidence. The success is attributable to the transformational and visionary policy of our Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Mr. Sean Sobers, as well as the hardworking staff at home and abroad. Trinidad and Tobago will seek to advance dialogue and practical action in three priority areas. They are: 1, curbing the illicit trafficking of small arms and light weapons, strengthening the women, peace and security agenda with particular attention to the protection and empowerment of women and children, and examining the implications of artificial intelligence for international peace and security. These priorities reflect challenges that are increasingly interconnected and which resonate strongly within our hemisphere. They also underscore our conviction and sustainable peace and security can only be achieved through forward-looking and cooperative approaches that address both traditional and emerging threats. We look forward to working with partners across the Americas and beyond to build consensus and advance meaningful outcomes on these critical issues. It is particularly fitting that we gather in Panama during this bicentennial year of the Amphictyonic Congress of Panama. Leaders of the region, exactly 200 years ago, envisaged a hemisphere united through dialogue, cooperation, and collective action. That aspiration remains as relevant today as it was in 1826. In this context, Panama serves as both a symbolic and practical meeting place for the Americas. As the home of the Panama Canal, one of the world's most important arteries of global commerce, Panama continues to facilitate the movement of trade, people, and opportunity, reinforcing the interconnectedness and shared prosperity of our region. Mr. President, this General Assembly convenes at a critical juncture as the contemporary hemisphere faces a complex array of challenges. Threats to democratic governance persist in various forms. Development gaps remain pronounced, particularly among the vulnerable and developing economies. Social inequalities continue to constrain opportunities for many of our citizens. At the same time, the imperative for cross-country and multi-sectoral cooperation has never been greater. No member state, regardless of size or capacity, can effectively address these challenges in isolation. Peace, security, and prosperity in the Americas depend fundamentally upon our ability to work together. This year, we will commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Inter-American Democratic Charter. Adopted in Lima, Peru, the Charter remains one of the defining instruments of our hemisphere, reflecting our joint commitment to democracy, human rights, and constitutional order. This commemoration invites us all, not merely to celebrate the Charter's legacy, but to reaffirm its relevance in addressing contemporary realities. Colleagues, democracy in this hemisphere cannot be sustained by institutions alone. It thrives on the continuous improvement of the circumstances of all citizens. Mr. President, in defending our democratic systems, we must also confront the scourge of transnational organized crime, criminal networks, and other institutions which weaken democracy. This is why we have worked in Trinidad and Tobago alongside our hemispheric partners through multilateralism to confront the scourge of narcotics, leading to a 42% reduction in crime in Trinidad and Tobago over the past year. Mr. President, as I conclude, the Organization of American States stands at an important crossroads. The decisions we take today will determine whether this organization continues to serve as a meaningful instrument for democracy, security, and development, or whether it risks becoming merely a forum for discussion without tangible impact. Our people expect more than declarations. They expect results. Let us therefore approach our deliberations with goodwill, pragmatism, and a genuine commitment to finding solutions. Let us choose action over inertia and cooperation over division. Trinidad and Tobago stands ready to work shoulder to shoulder with all member states in advancing a hemisphere that is more democratic, more secure, and more resilient, so we can create a prosperous region. As I conclude, I say, Panama has shown itself to be a gem of the OAS. Their hospitality this week is a reflection of what true friendship and partnership is about. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago. At this time, St. Kitts and Nevis. And then, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Much, Chair. Honorable
Switches with Uruguay.
heads of delegations, colleague ambassadors, Secretary General, Assistant Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, I extend greetings on behalf of the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, Minister of Foreign Affairs of St. Kitts and Nevis, who, despite his earnest desire, could not be here in Panama for this important gathering. The delegation of St. Kitts and Nevis conveys its highest appreciation to the government and people of the Republic of Panama for their gracious hospitality and the exemplary arrangements extended for this 56th regular session of the General Assembly. We further commend Panama for its stewardship of this distinguished gathering as we commemorate the bicentennial of the Congress of Panama. 2 centuries after that historic assembly, its legacy continues to resonate across our hemisphere. The conviction that sovereign nations acting together in common purpose can better secure peace, prosperity, and collective security remains as compelling today as it was in 1826. The enduring relevance of that vision is reflected not only in the theme of this assembly, but also in the challenges that continue to call for collective action. Indeed, the challenges confronting our hemisphere reaffirm a fundamental truth. No nation, regardless of size or circumstance, can effectively address today's interconnected challenges alone. Multilateralism, therefore, remains indispensable to our collective success. It is through institutions such as the OAS that we transform dialogue into cooperation, diversity into strength, and shared challenges into shared solutions. Multilateralism is not merely a diplomatic practice. It is the foundation upon which real hemispheric unity is built and sustained. At a time when global challenges increasingly transcend borders, multilateral cooperation remains the most effective means through which states, large and small alike, can advance common interests, uphold shared values, and ensure that no nation faces its challenges alone. It is through this spirit of cooperation that the Americas can continue to strengthen its unity and collective resilience. For St. Kitts and Nevis, unity must be matched by resilience. As a small island developing state, we continue to confront the disproportionate impacts of climate change despite contributing minimally to its causes. Our vision of becoming the world's first sustainable island state reflects our commitment to sustainability, innovation, resilience, and inclusive development. Yet, resilience cannot be built in isolation. Climate justice requires greater access to concessional financing, reform of the international financial architecture, and recognition that vulnerability, not income alone, must inform development support. For many small states, resilience financing is not simply a development priority. It is an existential imperative. Excellencies, a united hemisphere must also be a secure hemisphere. Transnational organized crime, illicit firearms trafficking, narcotic smuggling, cybercrime, and human trafficking continue to undermine security and development throughout our region. These threats do not respect borders and require coordinated regional responses rooted in cooperation, intelligence sharing, capacity building, and prevention. St. Kitts and Nevis also reaffirms its appreciation and support for regional and international efforts to restore security, strengthen democratic institutions, and improve humanitarian conditions in Haiti. We commend the leadership of the OAS and the input of CARICOM states, the contributions of multilateral agencies, friendly countries, and international partners in supporting the Haitian people. The pursuit of stability, security, and dignity in Haiti remains a shared hemispheric responsibility. Equally important is our collective commitment to democracy, human rights, the rule of law, and good governance. These principles are not only foundational to the work of this organization, they are essential pillars of peace, stability, and sustainable development. We must continue to safeguard these values while ensuring that our institutions remain responsive, inclusive, and resilient. In this regard, St. Kitts and Nevis welcomes the progress achieved toward the Declaration on the Rights of Peoples of African Descent in the Americas. We look forward to the resumption of negotiations and remain committed to a balanced, forward-looking outcome that reflects both historical realities and our shared commitment to human dignity, equality, and justice. As we reflect on the legacy of the Congress of Panama, we must also consider the legacy we will leave for future generations. History will not judge us by the declarations we adopt, but by our demonstrated unity and our willingness to act together in addressing the defining challenges of our time. St. Kitts and Nevis stands ready to work alongside all member states in advancing a hemisphere that is more resilient, secure, inclusive, and sustainable. Let us move forward guided by the spirit of Panama, strengthened by multilateral cooperation, and united in our determination to translate shared aspirations into meaningful progress for all of the peoples of the Americas. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you, St. Kitts and Nevis. Ambassadors, chancellors, delegates. We still have 20 delegations, and it's already 8 p.m. I would like to propose that we end the day here. We have 2 more plenaries tomorrow, and there's plenty of time to hear from all. Good evening. The United States has invited us for its celebration. Thank you very much.